Hi, I'm Sonia. Welcome to my channel. In this channel, I've been sharing how I've been building things around my house by myself in order to save money. Well, not necessarily by myself, with my husband. And today I'm going to share with you the project of the living room closet renovation or makeover. This closet was so messy. I'm going to show you how I turned it from super disorganized and messy to now it's a functional, organized closet. I'm going to leave links to all the tools and things that I use in the video in the description box, so check there for any details, and let's get started. According to me, I am a very organized person who doesn't like to have clutter anywhere. Well, if you were to see the contents of this closet behind me, you would not believe that that's true. This is one of the messy piles that I'm most embarrassed about in my house. And I'm kind of embarrassed to show you, but oh well, here it goes. Oh my god. Can you believe it? Well, in my defense, this closet is so messy because it's the only closet in the entire house. Well, other than the small closets in each of the bedrooms, but those are, to store your clothes and shoes, things like that. So it is the only closet that I have to store linens or storage, and it's too small. Plus, it only has one shelf. It stresses me out anytime that I have to go look for something because I have to dig through everything or pull things out to get to the stuff that's at the bottom and then put everything back, and it just continues to be a huge mess. But the excuses are done and over with. Today, I'm going to organize it, I'm going to clean it, and I'm going to do a tiny remodel because I want to paint it and also add more shelves to make it easier to organize. So follow me along the process, and I'm going to share some tips along the way so that maybe you can get some ideas to organize your closets as well.
Before you get started, you need to gather your supplies. I have one trash bag for trash and one for items to be donated. This laundry basket is for items that belong somewhere else in the house, and it's also good to have someone to help you, or at least someone to keep you company. The first step is to take everything out of the closet, and I mean absolutely everything, and I'm putting it all on the sofa, which is the closest thing that I have to the closet. You'll be surprised by some of the things you find, like I found this iron that I haven't used in forever. I also found these medicines that were for my dog Charlie, who passed away a few months ago. So I need to figure out how to dispose of them properly. I know you can't just throw them in the trash. I found quite a few pieces of dirty clothes, which I had no idea were in here. I'm thinking it ended up here from when we had overnight guests stay for several nights, and Carlos and I slept in the living room, and this is probably the closest thing we had, and we just dumped our dirty clothes in there. And this is where I store all the extra blankets. I hadn't realized how many I have. And I think I went and purchased more when we first moved in because it was winter and it was really cold and we didn't have a heater. So now I have a lot of blankets. Way at the bottom of the closet, I found the fire extinguisher, which in a real emergency would not have served us at all because I would have not found it in here or been able to get it quickly enough. So now I took it out and it's in the kitchen where it can be handy. The rest of these items were left behind by the previous owner of the home, my brother-in-law. So I'm just gonna take these out and store them for him. Here's the closet all empty now. Now I have to clean it before moving along. I'm gonna spray down all the surfaces, the walls. I'm gonna sweep the floor and then vacuum up any dust. Even after cleaning it, it still looked dirty because it had all these marks and scuffs, so it still looked dingy. So I decided to paint it. That's totally optional. No one's gonna look inside here, but I just thought it would look better with a fresh coat of paint. But before painting, I'm gonna remove this shelf and the rod. This shelf is too narrow for what I needed. I want my shelves to be wider. so I'm going to take it out. And then the rod here, I'm not going to hang anything with hangers, so I don't need it. I'm just going to take it out.
Alright, you know things about to get serious when the hair goes up. So I was able to remove the shelf pretty easily, but there's this rod here that just won't budge at all. So I'm going to have to cut it. I'm going to use this saw. So old. The previous owner, my brother-in-law, left this here, so I get to use it.
It wasn't too difficult to remove this rod. To do the cutting, I just would switch arms when one would get tired, so it came out pretty easily. Finally, I can start on the paint, and I'm going to be needing a drop cloth, a paintbrush for the edges, a regular size roll with the handle, a pan to put the paint in, and of course the paint. I'm going to use what was left over from when I painted the bathroom walls. I'll leave the color name in the description box. I don't have a stir stick, so I'm just going to shake it before I open it to make sure it's all incorporated well. With the brush, I'm going to start cutting or painting all the edges where the roll is not going to be able to fit. And this goes pretty quick because I don't have to be too careful since it's just a closet.
When I showed the tools supplies needed for painting, I forgot to include this pole extension. I didn't think I was going to need it, but it turns out I do. So you hook it onto the roll and it gives you a few more feet of height. So if you're short like me, you need one of these. This is what we have. It's all cut and now ready to roll.
I'm going to start by rolling the ceiling first. This is my least favorite part because I always get drops of paint on me that fall from the ceiling, but I try to be as careful as possible. Then I continue rolling on the paint from top to bottom until I complete all 3 walls. This is a tight space, so it's a little tricky to work with the pole extension and the handle, but I made it work.
Alright, so the first coat of paint is done, and I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'm gonna do a second coat. And I did that on purpose, the paint first before starting to put all the stuff, just so I can be doing 2 things at once. The closet's drying, and then I can start sorting now.
At this point of the project, it's normal to feel a little bit overwhelmed, especially when you have so much stuff, so much clutter to go through. But what helps me is to hold each item in my hands and ask myself these questions. Is it something that I really need? Am I actually going to use it? And do I really like it? Also, does it deserve a place in my home? So I try and be honest answering those questions, and that makes the decisions a little bit easier.
Okay, and this is what we're left with after sorting all the stuff. From here to the left, none of that's mine. That's my brother-in-law who used to own the home and left those things here, so I didn't touch those. But the rest of it is mine. This pile here is going to be donated. Things that are still in good shape, but I don't need anymore. This here is food that I found in our emergency kit. It's about to expire, so we need to eat that up. This basket is items that don't belong here, so I'm going to take them to the bedrooms or to the garage, wherever they go. And then the rest is what's staying. From here on, I have towels, I have little pillows, linens, games, things like that. So it's really not that much, because again, from there over, it's not mine, it's just from here to here. So that's the progress so far, and this little trash bag is all that I had of trash.
Time to build the shelves. First things first, you gotta take the measurements, measure the width and the height of the closet to determine the width of your shelves, and then also how many are gonna fit in here. Now that's gonna vary depending on the size of your closet. We went to purchase the lumber. There was many options, but at the end we decided for this red oak. I asked one of the employees to cut the lumber for me. I gave him the measurements of the shelves, and this is a service that they offer for free. To work on the shelves, I'm going to use this sanding machine. You could also use sandpaper, and then a dry brush to remove the dust, a smaller size painting roll and a handle, a pan to put the paint in, a drop cloth to protect the floor, and then this next isn't super mandatory, but some safety glasses and a mask so you don't get dust in your eyes, nose, or mouth, and then some gloves as well. The paint I'm going to use is the same one as the closet. I'll leave the name link below. Here you can see how rough the edges of the shelves are for where the cuts were made. That's where I'm going to be concentrating most of the sanding. But I'm also going to do a light sand all over the surface of both sides of the shelf, since I'm going to paint both and I don't know which side is going to be up yet. So you can also do this by hand just with sandpaper, but using this machine is easier and so much quicker, so I recommend it to you. I'm going to leave it linked below if you want to go check it out. I'm using gloves here to avoid getting any splinters in my hands, and then the glasses and the mask to avoid the dust. I didn't have too much dust here, so it wasn't too bad, but I remember when we were sanding the kitchen cabinets, I didn't wear the glasses and I got dust in my eyes and it really hurts. So this is just like a preventative measure. I'm using this dry brush to remove the dust. You could also use a dry cloth or a cloth that's a little bit damp with water. Since I'm not painting too large of a surface area, I used this smaller roll called weenie roll. It worked out great. I also used it to go over the edges of all the shelves. I let the first coat of paint dry for about 30 minutes before applying a second coat to make sure it was all even. This is the lumber I'm going to use for the rails, where the shelves are going to lie on top of here and stay up that way. They are a 1 by 2 inch, so I'm going to measure out the length and width of the shelves and then make them all cut to size. Now we are measuring out and marking the location where each of the rails is going to be installed. I'm leaving 15 inches between each shelf. So I'm measuring and then marking it off here. For this step, I recommend that you use a level to make sure that the rails are super straight. The level we have is way too long, it didn't fit in here, so we're using this straight edge here. We started to install the rails by drilling in wood screws, but then it started to crack. The wood was cracking, I imagine, because too much pressure, I'm not sure. So then we went back and drilled holes into the wood first before putting in the screws. This stud finder little machine is super useful. It tells you where the stud is behind the drywall, and that's where you want to install the rail. That's where you want to put the screw so that the screw holds onto the stud and it gives it a firmer grip, and you have more secure shelf. Now, if you don't have this machine or you can't find a stud, you'll need to use a drywall anchor with the screw instead. Here's what the rails look like all installed. I was able to keep the one old rail that was in there. It just happened to measure out exactly the 15 inches between the shelves, so that worked out. Now we just put the shelves on top of the rail. They all fit perfectly. Additionally, you could put a screw or a couple of screws at the back of the shelf to screw into the rails, but I didn't think that was necessary. This next step is optional, and I only did it for 2 of the rails, the ones that were visible, the higher up ones, and that's to fill in the holes with some spackle. I let that dry, I sanded it down before painting the rail the same color of the shelf and the wall. And again, like I said, it's optional, but that's just to give it a complete look for it to all be the same color. Since there wasn't a lot of sanding that I needed to do, I didn't use the machine, I just used this one sheet, and I did a very light sanding over the dry spackle. After sanding, I painted the rails with this brush. I could have removed the shelves to do this, but I got a little lazy. And anyway, the paint color is the same, so it really doesn't matter if a little bit of paint gets on the bottom of the shelf or on the wall. It's gonna blend in anyway because it's the same color. So I saved a little bit of time by not removing the shelves and just painted the rails with this brush. So the closet is all done now, at least the painting and the shelves. Now I have to organize it. I went to look for bins and trays. I went to Dollar Tree and this is all I could find. The trays are super small. I don't think they're gonna work, but I brought them just to try them. And then right next to that Dollar Tree was a Marshall's where I got all of these, which are beautiful and they have the look that I want, but they're more expensive. I think these were $12.99 each one, and then those were 2 for $12.99. So that's more than I wanted to spend. And then I thought about going to the 99-cent store and I found these. So this is the way I think I'm going to go because these are a larger size and they're in the color scheme I like. These were actually $2.99 each, but that's still a great deal in comparison to those. And they only had 2 of each color that I liked. They have like bright blue and orange and all those, but I like the black and white. So we're gonna try it out and see which ones work, and then the rest I'm gonna have to return. I'd recommend that you wait to buy any of baskets or containers until after you've sorted all your stuff, because that way you know how much things you need, so you know how many baskets you need, and you have everything in categories already, so that makes shopping a little bit easier. Now to arrange the baskets, I tried out different locations for them, a different setup, until I found a setup that I liked or that I thought would work. And anyway, if I change my mind later on, it's super easy to move these around to different locations depending on my needs. Also, at the end, I ended up using only the baskets from the 99-cent store. Those were the ones that worked out best, and the rest I returned to the other stores and got a refund. And here is the final tour of the closet.
Here's an overview. I ran out of labels, so I need to get more, but I will go through each shelf with you. I have the big blankets up there. There's that blue one, and right behind it there's a white one. There's a throw blanket there. Here we have all the games. These are tablecloths, and I have beach towels here. Here are the regular bath towels, extra bed sheets for the guest bedroom. And here I have sanitizer, wipes, masks, and sunglasses all in here. This is my husband's backpack. And this is Chester's grooming, his towel, and his treats. This is gonna be 4 hand towels. I need to buy more because I only have 2. And this is another one of Chester's bins for his harnesses and leashes, and we keep his main leash right here. And the last one, there's toilet paper here, and then this bin and this bin are empty. And on the floor we have the emergency kit right here. That's my gym bag and 2 more throw pillows. So that is it. Check out the before and after. I absolutely love how it turned out. Now everything has a place, and it's going to be a lot easier to keep it organized. Like I said, I left links and details in the description box, so check there in case you missed anything. And I hope that I've inspired you that if someone with little experience like me can do these type of projects, then you can do it too, and you can save a lot of money in the process. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.